Sengol, that is something much talked about. We are having political slugfest when it comes to Sengol, be it the new parliament building or Sengol. But how come the PMO was notified with this word, I would say, Sengol, and also the history of Sengol? We have a very special guest with us, Padma ma'am, who's a very, very renowned artist, I would say. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining. Ma'am, let us start with the word Sengol. How it was, because you being the first person who notified it to the Prime Minister's office, and after that there were situations like COVID, and now finally Sengol to be in the new parliament. What a historic moment, ma'am. How I want to ask, as a journalist also and also as a layman, that what inspired you to write about Sengol, and how sure were you that this time Prime Minister might, obviously he does take a note of everything, but taking a note of this, and now finally the Sengol is in the national capital?
Well, I came across a very interesting, significant article about Sengol, written by no less a person than Sri Gurumurthy ji in his Tamil weekly magazine, Tughlaq, a very popular magazine. And usually, it contains all political articles. But here I found a very profound article on the cultural and spiritual aspect of politics. And a very important event that had taken place 75 years ago as a symbol of transfer of power from British Raj to Indian Raj. And the whole thing was narrated by no less a person than Kanchi Mahaswami, the 68th Shankaracharya of Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham, who most of us even today believe was divinity in human form. And he was a Sarvajna. There was not one subject that he didn't know. And it looked, to give a gist of what was there in this article, I believe Lord Mountbatten asked Pandit Nehru, how can we symbolize this event of transformation of the power from British Raj to Indian Raj? Of course, signatures are there, papers are there, but there must be some symbolism about this whole event. And Nehru could not answer, so he asked Rajaji, and Rajaji straight went to Kanchi Acharya, and Kanchi Acharya advised him to go to the Tamil Matha, Tiruvavuduthurai. It's a Shaivite mutt. Go and ask him to prepare a danda, dharma danda, which is this concept of scepter has been there not only in Indian subcontinent, it has been there in certain other countries as well. You have old paintings where you see some person of power holding a scepter. And this Sengol was to be presented by the Rajaguru to the new king at the time of coronation. And Kanchi Acharya told Rajaji, I am not the right person because I am only a sannyasi. You have to go to a Rajaguru. And Tiruvavuduthurai Adinam was recommended by Kanchi Acharya. Rajaji went to the Adinam. Adinam means Mathadipati, who is the chief of the Matha. Adinam is a Tamil term for the Sanskrit term Matha. So he agreed. He said he will make one. And Ummadi Bangaru Chetty and Sons, great jewelers, that jewel shop is still there. There's a chain of shops. And I'm told someone who was there at that time is 96 years old, and he has also been invited when the danda was made. It was in silver, gold plated, and that was carried to Delhi. The senior Adinam could not come because he became sick. He sent his deputy, his junior, and he came along with Oduvar. Oduvar means the singer attached to the Shiva temple singing what is called Tevaram. Tevarams are a set of hundreds of hymns on Shiva, all sung by saints in 7th century, mind you. And it's a living tradition. Even today, all the major Shiva temples have Oduvars attached. And they have a regular hour when they have to sing the Tevaram hymns. So the Oduvar was also taken to Delhi. The danda, the Sengol, was first given to Mountbatten. He handed it over again to Adinam, and then Tiruvavadure Adinam anointed it with sprinkled Ganga water on it, some kind of a purification. And then the Oduvar sang, not recited, he sang the relevant Tevaram, which contains 11 verses. And the Tevaram was composed by a saint poet who was a child poet. These 11 verses end with a phrase saying, meaning this is the divine order for governance. So with those verses recited or sung, it was handed over to Nehru. And Nehruji was supposed to be receiving from the British Raj the power of attorney to rule India. This is how it all came. But I don't know what happened and why this was not publicized enough in all 75 years. But that day photographs were taken and evidence is there. Times had published, and I think there were other papers like Hindu also carrying news about this. But I don't know why this was removed to Allahabad Museum. And even I am a student of history. Not a line about this event is there in any history book. That is very unfortunate. Something which is symbolic of this transformation and something which projects our culture. It's not only Indian culture. Sengol is a Tamil term for a common term called Dharmadanda. So it is there that actually from Ramayana Mahabharata period, this concept of scepter is there. Sengol is still remembered by those who are familiar with Tamil literature. And even in Shilapadigaram belongs to just immediately after the Sangam period, just after the early Christian era. And this Tamil epic was written by a Jain monk, Elangovadigal. And he talks about, he mentions Sengol when the Pandyan king made a mistake by asking the hero's head to be beheaded because he was mistaken to be the thief. The heroine, Kannagi, comes to the Pandyan court and proves that the king was wrong. She is asking for justice. And the true king that he was, he felt guilty. He was feeling so guilty that the sense of guilt killed him. He died on the spot, and when he was drooping down, the line that Ilango Adigal writes is, the king says, my Sengol has bent. Otherwise it has to be straight.
It is what I understood. It is of good governance. It is of justice. And this entire thing was there in the Tamil magazine that you just mentioned, the article that was there. But what made you...
Not there in the article.
That was not there in the article. That is a Sengol that you were explaining. Okay. So what was there in the article, and what exactly, ma'am, I want to know, what inspired you to write it to the Prime Minister's office that this time? Because you correctly mentioned that even as a child I never read about Sengol, because there's no history book that actually has this Sengol chapter or any para that we could understand. Because now it is... this, I would say, is talked about after Home Minister Amit Shah stated that it is going to be in the new parliament. There's a little bit of political slugfest. We'll come to it later. But what was the inspiration that, yes, this needs to be notified to the Prime Minister?
What triggered me to write to Prime Minister Ji? Well, I read the article and I was very moved. I'm an artist and a historian from the cultural point of view. More than a chronology, it's the culture history which attracts me, and this is what I have been writing for the past 50 years. And I thought this is something very significant, and it is silly on the part of all of us not to even know about it. So when there was a meeting was convened to celebrate the 75th year of independence, and I was one of those invited. We were about 100 people. It was actually I attended it online, and at that time our most revered Prime Minister Ji and Amit Shah Ji, they said, give your ideas. I mean, it was not to me alone, it was the whole entire 100 people saying, give us ideas as to how we can celebrate the 75th year. And it was soon after that this article came. I thought this should be one of the ways in which we celebrate. At least now, after 75 years, this Sengol should be known, and that the transformation of power was done symbolically like this is something which people of India should know. And that is why when I wrote the translation and also a covering letter saying that as part of the 75 years celebration, this Sengol must be publicized in some way. I was not thinking those days, I didn't know honestly about the new parliament building and all that. So that's how it all started.
How do you think that this is significant? Because there's a lot of political slugfest when it comes to Sengol. A lot of people are talking about Sengol. Be that there are few leaders who are saying that this has been polarized. It is a symbol of Hindu culture. It is, Prime Minister is now symbolizing Hindu culture. But nobody is actually, what I learned from you is that it is about good governance. It is about justice. It doesn't have to be any, I would say any, be it be Hinduism, be it be any other religion. Why the people of the country needs to market to any religion? Can it be a simple sense or significance to justice and good governance? How significant do you think it is, and how relevant it is to be placed in the new parliament, one? And the second, what do you think about the kind of political slugfest that we people are, witnessing in the national capital, where leaders are polarizing it to being Hindu and Muslim?
Well, there is nothing called religion about this, I would say. It is not just Hindu. If it was only Hindu, a Jain monk, Ilango Adigal, would not have mentioned it in Shilapadigaram. So it is a symbol of justice and not symbol of monarchy. There is a difference. And there is also, I would like to definitely mention here, that there is a difference between religion and spiritualism. Spiritualism has a canopy for ethical values, moral values, and it is much more than religious dogmas. And symbolism is the characteristics of our culture. If it is, for instance, women power, take women power. If it is education, you have Saraswati. Again, it's a goddess, not even God. If it is valor, it is Durga. Again, it is goddess, not even a male god. And if it is wealth, it is Lakshmi. You symbolize wealth as a goddess. That is the greatness of our culture. And it is not just for Hinduism alone. Lakshmi is propitiated by certain other religions as well. And now other religions are also copying Hindu symbolism. Hindu symbols are being taken by them. Om has become very popular among other religions also. So these are all symbolism which have guided our thinking. So looking at Dharma Danda, somebody who is governing, or maybe in a democratic country like ours, everyone who is connected with democracy would remember thinking of being straight.
And not bent like you gave.
I can't bend. I will be straight. My justice will also be straight. And I will do only things which are good for my people, not for my own individual self. So this symbol there, I think, if they understand what it is, will inspire everybody there.
Beautifully you have explained it to our viewers that Sengol is not about any religion. It doesn't have to do anything about people are taking the power in a wrong sense. Also, it is about justice. Your justice should be straight. You also quoted a very beautiful example. Do you believe that the politics that is happening over Sengol could have been avoided? There was no need of the politics that is happening. We could see across the state that there's a lot of politics that is happening. Do you think it could have been avoided? It could be avoided, or do you believe it is inevitable, so it has to go on? People do say, so it doesn't matter, but the significance and the importance is that we have Sengol in the new parliament building.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not a political commentator, but I feel very hurt. I feel unfortunate, because I feel hurt and I also feel very happy. I wonder, when you say that I triggered the whole Sengol thing to come out in public, whether I was right in doing it or wrong in doing it.
Absolutely, ma'am. I would say if in my childhood I would have read it, I would have been a little bit more knowledgeable about my culture. And it is not just the power, it is about the justice as well.
It's unfortunate because I think it is ignorance about Sengol that creates the controversy and nothing else, because or sometimes you even act as though you are ignorant. There may be some other ulterior motive, because as someone who doesn't know politics, I can't think beyond. I'm too straight a person. I'm not say in Tamil they say layak. I don't deserve to be a politician because I'm what I think I speak. I'm not a split personality. And to my mind, the whole thing looks very, sorry to use the word, childish. It's an unnecessary fight over a small piece of, forget about its significance, a small piece of art. there is so much of decoration all around. Take it as a decoration. It is there. And why fight about such a small thing? And I'm very sorry for what is happening.
Also, ma'am, you're here in the national capital, not taking much of your time. How do you take the new parliament building as? Because it is not just the new parliament building. There will be, memories, new memories with the new parliament building. Also, the Rajpath changed to Kartavya Path. We witnessed 26 January parade there. A lot of things have changed. India Gate have changed, certainly. And we do have Netaji's statue there, because by far I remember, I've learnt that before 1947 the Andaman Islands were liberated by Netaji, and he had that thinking of modern India, and that is what Prime Minister is on to, that India needs to be not only modernized, we need to be, because in the new parliament building there is a constitutional hall that showcase our democratic culture, our democracy. There's a lot that is in the new parliament building. How do you take this chapter of a new parliament building and the entire Central Vista, the revamped Central Vista, from Subhash G statue to the Kartavya Path to the new parliament building?
Well, without repeating the list of things that you mentioned, I think it is completely changing the very vastu of New Delhi, the capital. And subjectively, as an Indian, I think I have grown so many feet taller in pride of being an Indian. And all these, and the new parliament building is standing tall to proclaim to the world that the next 25 years is going to be ours, and we will have the golden age of India's governance. And thanks to our Prime Minister ji and Amit Shah ji and all his ministers, for understanding there is symbolism in all our cultural objects. Even if you take coming back to Sengol, you find a bull on the top of it.
Yes.
Even that bull has a significance. The bull is significance for power to vanquish the enemy. That is the significance. Why do you think in Tamil Nadu we were fighting for Jallikattu? The bullfight. The bullfight is something which is there even in Spain. It's very popular in Spain. Jallikattu is a sport. Even though it's a sport, the bull has always been thought of as a symbol of heroism.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for speaking with us. Thank you for giving your time. So this was P Subrahmanyam, clearly stated that how important Sengol is. People who are fighting over it seems to be a little childish, but also Sengol is not a monarch. It is not just power, it is justice. Justice to strand state. With video journalist Pawan Mahima for ITV Network.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.